Hi, my name is Noah Smith, and this is my story to be considered as one of your tour guides. So, I'm going to take you back to 19th century New Orleans, where beer was only 4 cents, and the typical breakfast was red wine and French onion soup, right? Like, why don't we have that today? And where St. Philip Street was riddled with crime, vice, and disease. Now, back then, it was known as Gallatin Street, and it was the most dangerous street in New Orleans. It was so bad that the cops refused to enter the area. So, with no laws and no regulations, it gave birth to some of the most bawdiest women of the 19th century. One of them being the infamous female serial killer, Mary Jane Jackson. Now, she had flowing, flaming red hair, and she was very husky, which gave her the nickname Bricktop. And she ran with a gang of other rough women, and they were all sex workers. So there's this famous story where one night they're all drinking at a beer garden in the quarter, as you normally do with your gals, and a man named Laurent Fleury criticized them for their drinking habits. I guess they were throwing back too many shots, and he thought that was very unladylike. So after this snide comment, Mary Jane Jackson and her gals, they all got up from their chairs. They surrounded Laurent Fleury. They started wailing on him. And the owner of the establishment came to separate them. But Bricktop took out her custom-made 5-inch double-sided blade. You can look this up. And she slashed at the owner. Somehow the owner managed to survive, but Laurent Fleury did not. He died of his wounds. But get this, the coroner was so afraid of these women that he decided he couldn't deduce the cause of death. He said it must have been heart troubles. So Mary Jane Jackson would go on to beat 3 men to death with a club and stab 2 people that we know of with her custom double-sided blade, right? She had a boyfriend, and his name was John Miller, and he was by all means a man of Gallatin Street. He was a former boxer and a jailer, and he had his arm amputated, and he fitted it with a ball and a chain that he used as a weapon. So one night, he came home plastered, and he intended to use that ball and chain on Bricktop, which was a big mistake. He came at her with the ball and chain, and she grabbed it midair, took out her blade, and stabbed him not once, not twice, but 5 times. And from newspaper reports, we can see that she did not have an inch of remorse. Rightly so. She was unfortunately locked up in the Old Parish prison for that. But get this, later on, during the Civil War, the Union General George F. Shepley released all of the criminals back onto the streets as an FU to the South. So wasting no time, Bricktop fled, and she was never seen or heard from again.